I like that, Captain. Of my own ship. So I'm also designating you captain of your own ship. Life is a journey, and all of us travel through it, beginning at the same port, hopefully ending at the same port. We are traveling from God to God, always being in God. I want you to get that. We are traveling from God to God, always moving in God. I want you to get that. We started off in God, we will end up in God, and we are still in God. There's no other reality but God. I want you to get that. God is an English word that means good. There's a substance that is universal, invisible, immeasurable, universal, infinite. We don't know what it is, but we call it God. And because we have called it God, we have made up in our minds all sorts of stuff about God. But no man, no woman, no child really knows what God is. Emily Cady says in her book, Lessons in Truth, when Jesus was talking with the Samaritan woman at the well, he said to her, God is spirit, and those who worship God must worship God in spirit and in truth. She goes on to say, to say spirit would be to imply the existence of more than one spirit. Jesus in his statement did not imply that there were many spirits, but just one spirit. We live and move and have our being as spiritual beings, living and moving in this spiritual essence of pure spirit and intelligence. We call it God. Somebody else will call it Ram. Somebody else would call it Allah. But by any other name, it is still spirit. However you want to treat it, that comes out of your own imaging. But no man can see spirit. It is that invisible essence from which everything is made and everything resides in. God is not, as many of us have been taught to believe, a big personage or a man residing somewhere in a beautiful region called heaven. Where we die, when we die, we go to meet this man and to live happily ever after. And if we don't do good, we go down to meet his cousin. There we will burn forever. But death is separation of the physical from life. And life could never die, and life could never be burnt. So these are pictures that are childlike, meant to keep us in the right path. Our parents threatened us that if we didn't do right, we go to hell. And some of us have gone to hell and have never come back. because of a belief. Because when most of us do what we think is wrong, we believe that we are going to hell. And the price to come out of hell isn't worth it because you're having a good time. So I want you this morning to realize that wherever you are, no matter what you are doing, you cannot do what you are doing without God. That God is the enlivening spirit that gives you life and causes you to move and have being. I want you to get that. Build a new platform this morning on a solid rock that says, I am a spiritual being, always in the process of becoming. I will never fully become because I am traveling, and every stop along the way affords me the opportunity to see myself differently as I do different things. So the exercise this morning is to stop blaming yourself and feeling guilty for the things you have done. You needed to do those things in order to come to your senses, to realize that as a spiritual being, you are here to live. And as living, you're going to make mistakes sometimes, but those mistakes don't condemn you to hell. In fact, they are meant to help you to pursue a better life. When in Job chapter 1, it says that God called all his sons together. And it says, and Satan came too. Meaning, Satan is an aspect of spirit. Satan is meant to help us, after making mistakes, to come to ourselves. You know how sometimes we do things and we can't forget them for the rest of our lives? And you start to treat yourself as a bad person. And then you blame the devil for being in this place. Well, spirit is always forgiving. So if you are in hell, it has nothing to do with spirit. Whatever you believe in, you will experience. I want to free you this morning from the thought of ever going to hell, and to realize that wherever you are always a spiritual being, living, moving, and having your existence in spirit. The psalmist says in Psalm 139, where can I flee from your presence, O Lord? If I go up, you are there. Even when I go down, thou art there. In other words, why would I be guilty or why would I be afraid? If I know that wherever I am, God is, hello now. And my role is to live. And sometimes I'm not going to hit the mark. Sometimes I'm going to go off track, like all of us do. But I am not condemned in that moment to live the rest of my life in that state. Because spirit is unconditional. Look at some of us. We've committed some horrible sins since from the time we were little children. Hello? We stole bread. We copied and cheated at class. And you made it to this age. If God was like your earthly father, you done gone to prison, got condemned, got hung for some of the things that you've done. But God is what? the more you want to live is the more God gives you life to live. To him who hath, more shall be given, and to him who hath not, even that which he has is taken away. So when you live out of guilt, your life is taken away. Some of the things that you should be doing to correct those mistakes you can't do because you sit down in the house with a Bible reading, hoping that God will forgive you. Some of us walk with our Bibles and we pray every day, and yet still we criticize and condemn and stop talking to people because of what they did. And yet still in every moment God forgives you. Hello, isn't that nice? This God that I want to introduce you to, as Paul told the Athenians, is a God that is always available. Wherever I am, I live, move, and have my being in this presence. Because God is pure presence everywhere. Can't see it, but it is there. It is moving through me, as me. I could do nothing unless Spirit does its work through me. So then, when I look at you, I should not judge you because of the way you look. No, I must look beyond the way you look to find the God of you and celebrate that path that I could say to you, if I see you, I see God. That's my aim in life. It's to see the good in you, to see the beauty in you, and to see you as you really are, not by the things you do. Separate the things that you do, and I'll come to know you as you are. And if you could do that for me, you will see how beautiful heaven really is. Because you see me out of the content of your heart. You do not see me for who I am. And our training is to learn to cast out that old stuff that I can behold you in your glory. Because wherever you are, God is. And if I can't see God as you, well then, as James says, how could you say you love God and you can't even love your brother who is close to you? Turn to somebody and see God. Turn to somebody and see God. We are not leaving here today until you see God in somebody. If you can't see God in one person, turn to another person. You get the exercise? Stop looking out of the eyes of judgment and judge righteous. That means begin by seeing God. Stop seeing the shortcomings in others, because the shortcomings in others are a reflection of the shortcomings in you. So when I look at you, I am not looking at you, I am looking at a reflection in the mirror of myself. And everything I condemn about you is about me. I don't know you. I am still trying to know myself. How could I know you? And the Spirit is so wonderful. Spirit presents us with situations where we are forced to change our minds. You ever notice that? Yes. Or you end up the same way, bitter, confused, condemning and criticizing wherever you go. You see, some of us believe that when it really says that we are co-creators with God of the world, that we are supposed to fix the world because the world is wrong. The world is your impression of what God has made. If it ain't right, you made it. But the fundamental world that God made, when God was finished making it, God said what? It is good and very good. So if you can't see good where you are, does this have anything to do with God? No. Has to do with who? Me. Why are you saying you? It has to do with? Me. Yeah. I want you to get that this morning. We have been educated to believe God is a lot of stuff by a lot of theologians who don't know what God is, but because they have powerful letters in front of their names, we believe them. The doctor of this, the pope of that, the archbishop of this, and we believe them. And they're making up stuff as they go. And every day they have a new theology. And they correct something that they believed 2,000 years ago. And 600 years ago they changed that. And they come back and change it today. But God is unchangeable. That's the beautiful thing. Anything I make up about God has nothing to do with God, because I don't know what God is. God is just spirit, invisible substance, energy, and intelligence. That's all God is. Anything I tell you about God, don't believe, because I know nothing about God. I want you to get it. I'm helping you free yourself from church. Wherever you are is a learning experience about yourself. Hello now. Wherever you are, open up your eyes and see the possibility to grow. Hello. It doesn't matter what's happening to you. Stop complaining. It's an opportunity for you to get to realize the more you go into yourself is the more you will find more of yourself that could conquer every situation and have an answer for every question that you can have. But you got to believe that you are made in the image likeness of spirit. And if with spirit all things are possible, then as a spiritual being, all things are also possible for me. I got to believe that about myself. Because whatever I believe about spirit, I must believe about myself. Because there's no separation between spirit and I. We all one. Hello now. I can't raise my hand without spirit raising my hand for me. So if I know that, all I want to do is to use spirit more. To become more and to experience more. Stop getting caught up in what they say. Get caught up about what you discover about yourself for yourself. Learn to realize that you are in the discovery business. Right? And wherever you are is the discovery district. It's your laboratory. And as you live, you discover things about yourself or discover the power that God has given you to discover yourself. And you discover and be joyful in it. Hello now. Sometimes God forces you to work with somebody that you hate. You leave that job only to get another job with another person that you hate. Learn to work with hate. And start working with love. And you realize that wherever you are, whoever is there is one with God, one with you, and you are meant to share and give to that person and receive freely from that person. In God, there is no gender. In God, there is no race or color or creed. We are all one spiritual family. We get into this here now. All the stuff that they have told you, get rid of. And come to the realization, there's only one spirit. And we are all part of it. In Acts 27, it's Acts 17 and 27, Paul speaking to the Athenians, he said, let me introduce you to my God. He says, this God is not made of bricks and marble. This God is spirit, moving in and through me at all times. Hello now, as your poet says, we are made in the image likeness of God. We are pure spirit people. Everybody that you meet is pure spirit, manifesting in a particular form. You may not like my shape, but everything about this shape is about God. Therefore, it's good. And I like it. You like it now? Because you better love it, because this is all you're going to get when you see me. Some of us wish we could change people. We spend our lives married to people to change them. My wish for you for Christmas is you become, my greatest present is you becoming what I want you to become. And I'll wrap it up. No, your role is to change you so you could experience this ever presence that is everywhere, that you could experience God everywhere. When you come to the place to experience God everywhere, you have arrived. That is true arrival. When you look out of your mind and you look at people and there's no judgment, you could say, yes, I have arrived. When you look at someone and you see yourself reflecting as love, wanting to get close to that person and enjoy that person without any problem, I've arrived. Hello now. Have you arriven? Or are you still driven to a riven? This understanding of God sets you free. It means that you don't have to walk around with an affirmation in your hand every minute. You just know that you know that you know that wherever I am a spiritual being connected with all of God. And there can be no separation. It's like I am the wetness and God is the water. There's no separation between the wetness and the water. We are all one. Just think about that for a moment. Everything you do, God does for you. God does not know what is good or bad. I don't know. And God does not hold you to what you believe. Every minute of the day, God gives you more opportunity to do whatever you want. It's called free will. You understand what free will is? You can do whatever you want. Like the young prodigal son. Father, give me what you have for me. The father did it and he went and squandered it. And when he learned from his lessons, he came back home and the father said what? Give him more. Give him more. I wish my father and mother could have been like God. My God has no rod, no strap. My God does not deny. My God gives more. You don't know what I'm talking about because you all were so good as kids. You never did anything wrong. If you look carefully, you will still see marks on my back. And I could count and know where they came from and what I did. But my God doesn't even know what I am doing. All it does is give me more life to live out my dreams. Isn't that wonderful? Hello. Isn't that wonderful? Yes. My God loves me in spite of who I think I am. Meaning my God is always one with me. There's no separation between God and I. We are spiritual beings. How could there be a disconnection? Why would I ever want to turn my face from God? Because wherever I turn, God is there. So how could I turn my face from God? Why would I tell myself I'm just a worm in the dust because I'm ashamed of what I'm doing? No, God, thank you for the opportunity for doing what I did. I learned my lesson and I'm willing to grow forward. Give me more, Father. Suck it to me. You see, some of us hold ourselves in the conditions that we are because we love to tell our story. Girl, guess what happened? And we go on with a long, long story that really has no meaning but to ourselves. And the other person is saying, get over it, get over it, get over it, get over it. Stop telling that story. But they can't tell you because they say they love you. But if you come to me, I will tell you, get over it. Because I love you. See, love means to tell the truth. Love means to have integrity. Love means not to cover up. So if I see you going wrong and you tell me you're going wrong, I know you're going wrong, I'm going to tell you you're going wrong. I'm not going to smile and giggle. Hee! No. You need to change. You need to come to realize that God is love, and love always is in love with love. And God could never hate you that bad for you to hate yourself. Do you hate yourself? Do you dislike parts of you? When you look in the mirror, do you love all of you? Why? You better start loving it because you created it. Hello now. Do you like the relationship that you are in? No. Yeah. Possibly, yes. But you created it. It is not going to change until you accept it for what it is. You're nodding your head, Nori. You want to come up and tell your story? How you overcame heaven? The nature of anything is the name we give it. Or the essential characteristic. When we say God, we say the nature of God is absolute good. This absolute good means it is always perfect, it is always whole, it is always complete. There's no variation in God. God is not sometime-ish like our parents. God is only integrity, standing on principle at all times, unchangeable. The same God that was yesterday is the same God that is here today and will be forevermore. Absolute good. Wherever you go, this integrity is there. So if you go to Timbuktu, the same God that is here is the same God that is there. I want you to get that. So sometimes when you go to a place, stop trying to fix it. Just accept. Coming to know God is to accept yourself for who you are. Knowing that as a spiritual being, you are always expanding and growing. When I was a child, I did things because I was a child. I did not know better. Now I know a little better. I do a little better. I don't beat up myself. I can't beat up myself if I know that God gives me unconditional love. And I have free will to do whatever I want at any time and come back and get more loving. God could never be divorced from me. So I don't have to sign no prenup with God. If I leave, I still come back and get the house. I could go everywhere, still come back and get a ring on my finger and kill the fatted calf. It's killed for me. Hello now. Because I deserve the best. Yet he is not far from each one of us. For in God we live and move and have our being. For we are offsprings. We are constantly flowing in and out of God, consciously. But in reality, we are always one with God. If there's any separation between you and God, that is in your thinking. You could never be separated from God. Never be separate. Do you realize what that means? Do you really realize what that means? It means that I can call on God at any time, even in the midst of all the problems I have. Do you spend time in the day just coming to terms that as a spiritual being, you don't need to be in the place that you are at? Do you realize that? That suffering, you believe that suffering is a good thing. You believe that it's nice to carry a heavy burden. Wears you down. And you don't need to be worn down. You need to be free. So in every moment, all you have to do is to come back to this principle. Wherever I am, good is. So I drop everything and I experience this goodness that is God in the midst of me. Fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you all of the kingdom, not part of the kingdom. You can have it all. You can have all the peace, all the love, all the joy, all the happiness, all the fulfillment that you require right here, right now. You don't have to plan to meet God. You know, some of us come to church to meet God. So we have to put on the best clothing. Chanel. Wherever you are, in your pajamas, out of your pajamas, God is there. In the shower. And they say the best place to meet God is when you're naked. You have no encumbrances. Mentally, here, people. I'm not talking, take off your clothes for God. I'm talking mentally. Unburden yourself and come to God. That's the only way you can meet God, is when you unburden yourself by taking off all these personalities, because some of us believe we are this and we are that, and I shouldn't mix with this and mix with that. Call not what God has made unclean. Wherever I am. Say with me, wherever I am, God is. There's a spiritual substance of which I am made. I may call it God. I may call it spirit. I may call it divine intelligence. Whatever I call it, it still is wherever I am. And I am made in its image. I am made after its likeness. And if its nature is absolute good, I too, I am absolute good. I want you to take this one in. and say this 3 times. I am absolute good.
I am absolute good.
Again, I am absolute good. Another one.
I am absolute good.
And now say this. Whenever you see me,
Whenever you see me,
you see my Father.
you see my Father.
Think about that. Wow. Wherever you see me, whenever you see me, you see my Father. Because I am a reflection of God. God is living through me. God's living through you. The image that you have of yourself, you need to change. That concept that you have of yourself, you need to change in order to experience the God concept of yourself. None of us are inadequate. None of us are unworthy. None of us should have low self-esteem, because we all came from the one. And the one is mighty and powerful. If God is mighty and powerful, I am mighty and powerful. If God could tell the wind to stop and change the course, which God cannot do because God is law, I can do that too. Hello now. Whatever God does, I do, because God does it through me. So my role is to do what? Become open, become receptive, and let Spirit flow through me freely. Can you do that? Do you want to free yourself? If the aim is to live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life, then all we need to do is to surrender to Spirit and let Spirit take control. And Jesus was somewhere, and a young man came up to him and said, "Good master." And he said to the young man, "Why call me good? Only God is good." Sometimes we make gods out of people. There's only one God. The same Spirit in me is the same Spirit in you. If you can call me good, start calling yourself good. For there's only one God that dwells in all of us. God bless, and so it is. At this time, as the choir sings, if you have not written out what you expect to get after this journey of 7 weeks, you may do so. Take out your booklet. If you have a pen, you can use the pen. The song is long enough that you can write it and lend your pen to somebody else so they may write too. But try and write it out and keep this book with you as your affirmation. Make your statement and follow the statement as you progress. And realize that you can only be the best that you declare yourself to be. God didn't make you second class and make somebody else first class. You are always first class. Always remember that. Go ahead.